Typical day in Gotham Prep's pool changing room. Some poor kid gets his head shoved into a locker. Hard! He looks up from the floor at the figures towering over him. They're so much bigger than him, pointing and snickering at the shrimp. They leave, heading for the pool while their victim gets back to his feet and charges forward. He tackles the largest bully, trying to force him into the pool. It's futile. The big kid throws his would-be attacker into the pool without an effort, holding his victim's head beneath the water. But as he does, he just became a crocodile man. How? What the? Meanwhile, the new Batman, Dick Grayson, is looking out of his penthouse window first thing in the morning. His eyes are sunken, half open.
Trouble sleeping again, Master Richard? I suppose that depends on whether we're seeing the same thing through this window, Alfred.
There's vultures perched on the penthouse balcony. Not something you'd expect from downtown Gotham City. No wonder Dick thought he might be dreaming. But he confirms that yes, he'd had some trouble getting a good night's rest. He's still tired now, yawning before starting to get dressed. Alfred suggests that he might try to decorate the kinda barren penthouse, make it feel more of a home. Dick snarks that he could use his old Robin boots and hang up a picture of him with the anti-monitor. Ultimately though, he's got work to do. Commissioner Gordon wants to use the new fancy Wayne Tech crime lab. Dick's gotta give him the tour. And while they talk, the vultures watch, lurking on the balcony. Gordon's already in the lab by the time Dick gets down there, already hard at work. The two shake hands. Call me Dick, please. You drove me to my high school prom.
Actually, I drove my daughter to her high school prom. You just happened to be in the car.
He's working on the Crocodile Man case at Gotham Prep and outlines the basics to Dick. The kid who transformed Dana Redford had this fancy drug vial in his locker. It's a hormonal mutagen, the same formula that turned Killer Croc into a monster. How did some random kid end up with that? That's what Gordon's looking into. He brought some of the stuff that was used on Croc out of evidence. He wants to use the Wayne lab to see if it's not just the same formula, but the same batch. Dick puts it into the machine, hitting the lights, and yup, it's the exact same chemical makeup. Someone's stolen a vial of the original from the police evidence vault. That's why Gordon wanted to use the Wayne lab for this. There's no clue as to how Dana got this stuff. He's in a coma at Gotham Presbyterian Hospital while the staff try to get the mutagen out of his system. He's got a socialite mom who hasn't even checked in on him. Only family he's really got is the Redford butler, Carson Reed, who's just returning to the house after checking on Dana. He's clearly been crying. Carson walks through the empty house, moving to close the curtains, only to find Batman waiting for him outside the window.
The mutagen Dana took was highly guarded police evidence. There's no way he could have gotten it without help. I told you everything I could, sir. I have. You're the eyes and ears of this household. Think harder. If I knew anything else, don't you think I'd say so? I practically raised that boy myself. Have you any idea what it's like for me, seeing him hurt and helpless, lying there? Yes, I think I do.
He asks about Dana's mother, Gail Redford. She's a socialite. Could she have met someone that gave the kid the drugs? Carson's unsure. The mistress had been very private recently. There's one possibility, but Carson Reed is dead, and a deranged Gail Redford is screaming about a bat in her house. She levels her gun at Batman, who's trying to check the poor butler's body for signs of life. One quick over-the-shoulder battering throw is enough to knock the shotgun from her arms. Rather than reach down for it though, Gail Redford runs, still screaming about the bat, even as Dick yells at her to stop. It's not enough. She dives out of a window. Batman jumps after her, falling to the rainy ground. He's too late. She's not moving. Dick hangs his head in shame, looking down at the broken body of a woman he couldn't save. There's something on her neck. Batman kneels, looking closer. One of the Mad Hatter's tags, this time sewn into her skin. He checks back in with Gordon. This wasn't actually the Hatter's work. His newer tags are more tailored than this. Whoever did this was working with older tech. Just like the Croc mutagen, it was stolen from the GCPD evidence room. The same cop, Colin Buck, was involved in evidence collection for both cases. Dick already checked Buck's apartment. It was abandoned. Gordon's one step ahead of him though. Cullen's shacked up with a former cop, Becca Mulcahy. They bought a townhouse together.
You want my guess? The happy couple is selling some of the department's more valuable evidence on the black market.
Maybe. But the Mad Hatter tag was surgically grafted into Gail Redford's neck.
The whole thing feels bigger and smarter than a thug like Buck. Wish I could say I don't agree. Something wrong, Commissioner? No, I suppose I'm just not used to it yet. Used to what? To you still being there when I look up.
Cullen Buck's new townhouse is pretty nice, and as Batman notes, he and his partner have a ton of weapons. Buck himself is awake, 2 pistols drawn and silently trailing the bat thanks to his night vision goggles. Dick's eyes narrow. The dirty cop may have guns pointed at the bats, but that's nowhere near enough to make him safe. In no time, Officer Buck is hanging suspended in the air, spitting defiance at the bats. "This is my home, you circus freak! Let me go!"
See, me letting you go is exactly what you want to avoid, Officer Buck.
Batman starts asking him some questions about the evidence room thefts. Unfortunately, that's when Becca Mulcahy shows up, pointing an AK at his back and yelling at him to put his hands behind his head. Dick complies, Cullen sneering at the punk's show of weakness. But, good night, former Officer Mulcahy.
Bat taser, you were saying?
No longer having his girlfriend to hide behind, Buck finally gets nervous. Whoever was behind this will kill him for talking. Cullen's convinced he could be watching them right now.
Look, I don't know. I don't know his name. He's just the dealer. Runs an operation called Mirror House. He collects the villain stuff, then sells it to the highest bidder at these underground auctions. Real wealthy people.
Buck starts to cough up blood, even as Batman reaches for him. Dick takes him down from the grapple line, telling him to stay calm. But it's too late. Vines start to snake out of the man's mouth, his ears, his eyes. Batman's left alone with another dead body. He's seething. That's 3 people killed, with him right there and unable to help. Buck might have been a dirty cop, but he didn't deserve this. The dealer's gonna find out what happens when the circus-trained Batman decides to bring down the house. Dick's next lead is a guy called William Rhodes, who's driving away from Batman very fast. Oracle found financial links between him and Mirror House. They need to talk to him. Batman jumps from his cycle, yelling at it to follow as he lands on the executive's car. He calls to Rhodes to stop the car. Instead, the man pulls a pistol and starts firing at the ceiling, eyes closed. He seems crazed. No! Dick flips away just as the industrialist drives right into a brick wall. Batman jumps backwards, landing on his motorcycle and pulling up. Their next witness just got himself killed. Thankfully, Oracle can work miracles with technology. She's gotten into Rhodes' accounts and is gonna fake him still being alive. She and Batman break down what they know so far. Knowing about the Mirror House makes what happened to the Redfords make way more sense. They made money from imports. They were likely used to move goods for the dealer. Dana probably stumbled into a stash of crock drugs that were meant for auction at the Mirror House. Oracle's got a list of just some of the black market auction's clients. Batman's amazed at the names he sees there. It's a lot. For now though, he's hoping hacking into Rhodes' file will get them an invitation to the Mirror House's next event. It'll be the easiest way to gather evidence against them. Just walk right in and watch them do some crime. Oracle's still got some encrypted files to pry open, but she's optimistic. The invite's probably in one. All Batman will need is a disguise, and he'll be in. Can't wait. I'll make sure to pick you up a housewarming gift. Maybe something for me too. Alfred was after me the other day for not making the penthouse more homey. Has this Alfred person ever met you? Next up, it's time to head back to the Wayne Tech Labs. Tim Drake's here with Batman's disguise for the auction. A fancy holographic mask that'll make him look like whoever he wants. I guess this means we'll be retiring the old beard and wig trunk? Blasphemy, Mr. Drake, blasphemy. And after that, Batman's over to the GCPD to meet Lieutenant Harvey Bullock? Dick's surprised to see him, but Gordon had some family business to deal with. Harvey's got his own insight on the Mirror House though. There was nothing in the official archives, but he's had a chat with some of his old friends, some retired senior cops. They remembered rumors about it back in the day. The auctions move around, hold their events at places where bad stuff went down. The kicker though, like Harvey said, the people talking about this were retired cops. They knew the Mirror House from decades back. It's been operating in Gotham for a while. They've got a reach beyond the city too. Batman's found records of the same accounts that bought evidence from Buck doing the same with policemen in Star City and Metropolis. They've got pieces of the puzzle. They just need to find the dealer. And that's when Oracle calls. She's found William Rhodes's invite and was able to track the IP address to a man named Etienne Guibourg. Batman immediately identifies that as a fake name. Guibourg was a French priest from the 1600s, convicted of secretly performing satanic rituals. Well, speak of the devil. It's time for William Rhodes to attend the Mirror House. He drives alone to the broken-down Gramercy Row, hollow mask already in place. Tim chimes in over the comm, first to check the mask is working, but then to share some bad news. The Mirror House has a blackout field. They won't be able to talk with Dick once he's inside. Tim claims it shouldn't affect the mask, but Dick loses the call before he can finish talking. The guard at the door is openly sporting an Uzi, but doesn't seem too hostile, just asking Rhodes for his invitation. He checks the disc with a reader before handing Dick a small package from the owner. Inside is a gas mask and an auctioneer's paddle marked 47. Dick descends to the basement, remembering this place's history. Harbor House, an old banquet hall where a bunch of people died in panic and fire. The Mirror House does indeed go for these tragic locations. They set up right in that old chamber at the end of the hall. Mr. Rhodes, you're just in time. We're about to begin. One of the attendants outside locks the door behind Dick as Etienne Guibourg welcomes his guests new and old. They're all clearly dressed up for this. Guibourg talks about how wonderful a location this is, dead bodies still left where they fell so long ago. The crowd cheers, clearly wowed by the wonderful decor. Wonderful space, wonderful friends, wonderful items to bid on. Soon! First, a quick introduction for our new faces in the crowd. Not that I can see them. So, in case you're wondering about the masks, when it comes to our affairs, we at Mirror House understand the need for both discretion and exclusivity. Which is why this room is completely filled with poison gas, a gas specifically chosen from Gotham's grand history. It's a real vintage too, quite potent. If ingested, it causes all sorts of delightfully black delusions before sparking massive, successive brain hemorrhages in its victims. All in a matter of minutes, too. Don't worry though, new friends. As always, I've made sure your masks have been modified to filter out this particular gas. Now, the philosophy of Mirror House is quite simple. We believe wholeheartedly that evil is humanity's divine spark. See, some people think that what makes us a species divine, what separates us from soulless animals, is our propensity for good. And yet, if I may, I'd like to propose another theory, a retort if you will. Because goodness, compassion, generosity, these are things that do, in fact, occur in the wild, between lower forms of life. But evil, true malevolence though, no, that you don't see among the birds and the bees and the monkeys in the trees. I've done auctions in places all over the world, but there's nowhere I like holding an event more than Gotham City. Nowhere is the human spirit more visible than the streets of Gotham City. You can feel the city feed on it, the desires of its people, the shadowed dreams. Where else houses such dark angels? Two-Face, Mr. Zsasz, the Joker. The crowd cheers as Dick tries not to be sick. Etienne brings out his first item of the night, covered by a red shroud. It comes from Lebanon, Beirut specifically. It's a magnificent piece and a former possession of the Joker. Allegedly, it was used to beat one of the Robins' brains in, though I haven't been able to verify that. Still, if you look closely, there seems to be some human tissue still on the edge. The crowd coos over the crowbar, calling it beautiful. Etienne has a half-dozen bids in seconds. But wait. See, we have an even bigger item up for grabs, so to speak. Mr. William Rhodes, are you out there? Where are you, my friend? The whole thing was a setup. Etienne points down towards 47. The old man was able to work out that Dick faked his credentials, which is why his is the one mask I didn't modify. I imagine you must be feeling the effects by now, Mr. Rhodes. Or should I say, Batman. Dick tears at his mask, the other auction guests staring at him. The gas is starting to take effect. He just sees monsters glaring at him. Up on the stage, Etienne laughs. This is the Mirror House's first real item tonight. Gotham's legendary vigilante, given away to these savage collectors. So take him, tear him apart, and keep his bones for yourselves. Dick turns to run from the gathering monsters, still holding a hand to his head. He's in pain. He's surrounded, but he's not done yet. The auction attendees grab for Dick as he jumps skyward, vaulting over one man, then a second. Reaching the stage, he kicks Etienne right in the guts before grabbing the crowbar. Sorry, folks. I'm afraid bidding on this item just closed. Batman leaps from the stage, the auctioneer screaming at the crowd to get him. Dick hooks onto the chandelier, swinging over the crowd. It's not enough to get him out of the room though. Etienne laughs up at him. His perch won't last long. I'm counting on it. Grabbing a cord, Dick wrenches the chandelier out of its socket, leaping up to the hole torn out of the ceiling. His stolen crowbar is enough to get him a handhold, and he pulls himself into the upper floor, only for one of the Mirror House goons to kick him right in the face. The thug grabs Batman even as the auction guests emerge onto the upper level. Dick's out of time. He elbows the goon in the gut, turning to run, but the monsters are on him, now fully transformed. They claw and bite at his flesh, even as Batman tries to tell himself this is all hallucination. These are the citizens of Gotham. They're not animals, not monsters. Finally, pulling himself free of the throng of snarling creatures, Dick bolts for the door. The roof is in sight. He's almost out of here, almost safe. He takes one last leap, tumbling towards anything else. Darkness, total, all-encompassing. When Dick wakes up, he sees Barbara Gordon, Oracle. He holds his head. Something's wrong. I can't feel my legs. Barbara holds her head. She's been dreading this moment. The Mirror House people found Dick before Tim could. They'd already eaten both his legs, all the way up to the knee. No, this can't be happening. Still, as Oracle points out, he's alive. He's intact. That's all she could ask for, because that means she can carve some pieces off of him for herself. Dick rolls out of the bed, Barbara falling from her chair and crawling over the floor to pursue him, knife in hand, claiming that she's doing this out of love. Batman is helpless. He can't even stand. Barbara, no, please! It's hopeless. She draws close, flexing her knife and opening her mouth wide, ready to feast. Barbara, the real Barbara, calls his name. That's what finally brings Batman back to reality. All of that was just one last hallucination from the gas. Oracle oversaw Dick's treatment, but they still haven't gotten it out of his body entirely. Still, he's Batman now. He can't just let Etienne get away. He's still clutching his side, and Oracle tells him to take it easy. He should be resting. But even like this, Batman's worked out where the dealer will be. He's got to leave Gotham. The Redfords have a private cargo jet. Oracle keeps trying to get him to stand down. She's got a lead on the Mirror House's funds. Etienne won't be able to escape her, but Dick insists on doing this here. After what Etienne said about his city, Batman wants to make sure he goes down in Gotham. The old dealer seated by his plane window, looking out at the sunset, when an aide calls. The cargo bay's door's been opened somehow. They can't close it. Etienne waves his arms, screaming in anger at the loss of cargo. The Batplane is right on their tail. Etienne yells at his pilot to climb. If they get high enough, the smaller plane won't be able to follow. The stolen jet soars, debris drifting down. See? Too high for a little bat. But no. Batman launches out of the jet in bat power armor, jetpack carrying him up. Etienne's thugs try to shoot Gotham's defender down, firing with twin Uzis. They can't even scrape the paint. Batman fires with his gauntlet blasters, firing nets that wrap up the gunman in an instant. The pair fall down the open cargo ramp like piles of rubbish right before a pair of parachutes open to give them a safe path down to the ground. Batman orders Etienne to surrender. The crime lord isn't interested. Not willing to let him talk, Dick picks his foe up by the scruff of the neck, but...
Oh, you should have stayed in your cave and licked your wounds, little bat. In your cave!
No gas this time, no illusion. Etienne's become a massive, hulking monster with fangs, claws, glowing red eyes, and enough muscle to dwarf Batman even in the armor. Like this, the old crime lord is strong enough to slam Batman down to the metal deck, splintering the Dark Knight's wings like they're cardboard. Dick tries to pick himself up, half his shoulder plate torn away. Etienne's grabbed a large crate full of explosives and throws it right at Batman. The fire envelops Dick, knocking him back into the cargo compartment.
Come and look at me, little bat.
The monster lifts Batman up to the ceiling, forcing his head down.
Look in my eyes, you see. Do you see?
What I see, a common criminal, a greedy old man who sells dusty pieces of junk to rich people with too much time on their hands. You're not some high priest of evil. You're just a geriatric, broken down crook, hopped up on venom and some outdated version of Doc Langstrom's Man-Bat juice. That's right, I saw the micro syringes. You don't own Gotham City, but Gotham's about to own you for a very long time. Not bad, Batman. But could you beat a guy who has the power of 6 different Venom symbiotes at once?